Imagine a world on the brink. Nations are tense, alliances are fragile, and the air is thick with uncertainty. The year is 1939. The world stands at a precipice, teetering on the edge of an abyss. The drums of war beat louder with each passing day, armies mobilize, and the specter of conflict looms ever larger. Japan, a nation with a proud samurai history, feels the pressure of expansion. Resources are scarce, ambitions are high. The nation is driven by a desire to secure its place in the world. The military, wielding increasing influence, sees expansion as the only solution. They believe that only through conquest can Japan achieve the resources and prestige it seeks. Their eyes fall on resource-rich territories in Asia. The vast lands of China and Southeast Asia promise the raw materials and strategic advantages Japan desperately needs. The stage is set for a conflict that will engulf the globe. The world watches with bated breath as tensions rise and alliances are tested. The invasion of Manchuria in 1931 marked the beginning of Japan's aggressive expansionist policy. This bold move was a clear signal of Japan's intentions. This act of aggression drew international condemnation. The League of Nations, though vocal in its disapproval, was powerless to stop Japan's advance. It also set Japan on a collision course with the United States and its allies. Diplomatic relations grew increasingly strained as Japan's ambitions clashed with American interests in the Pacific. The bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941 plunged the United States into the war. This surprise attack galvanized the American public and military, leading to a full-scale entry into the global conflict. It also solidified Japan's image as an aggressor in the eyes of many. Propaganda on both sides painted the conflict in stark terms, fueling the fires of war. The world watched as the conflict escalated, a maelstrom of destruction and despair. Cities were reduced to rubble, and countless lives were forever changed by the horrors of war. From the beaches of Normandy to the jungles of the Pacific, World War II raged. Millions perished, cities crumbled under the weight of relentless bombing campaigns. The horrors of war touched every corner of the globe. Amidst this chaos, the United States raced against time. They were developing a weapon of unimaginable power, the atomic bomb. In Europe, the Allied forces fought valiantly against the Nazi war machine. The Battle of Stalingrad, a brutal clash of ideologies and military might, became a turning point in the war. In the Pacific, island-hopping campaigns brought the fighting closer to the Japanese mainland. Each battle brought its share of casualties, a stark reminder of the human cost of war. Deep in the arid and desolate deserts of New Mexico, a top-secret project was quietly and meticulously underway. The Manhattan Project, a monumental gathering of the era's most brilliant minds, toiled relentlessly day and night. Their singular goal was to harness the immense power of the atom and create the most destructive weapon ever conceived by humanity. The scientists understood the gravity and the monumental implications of their task. Yet the urgency of the war effort and the pressure to succeed fueled their unwavering resolve. The ethical implications of their work weighed heavily on the minds of many involved, causing sleepless nights and intense debates. Could they, in good conscience, unleash such a devastating force upon the world? The question lingered in every discussion and every decision. The potential for destruction was unimaginable, a force that could obliterate entire cities in an instant. But the war raged on with unrelenting ferocity, and the fate of nations hung precariously in the balance. The scientists pressed forward, driven by a complex mix of duty, patriotism, and a deep-seated apprehension about the future. They were on the brink of creating a weapon that could potentially end the war. But the haunting question remained: at what cost to humanity and the world? As the war in the Pacific raged on, the United States found itself at a critical juncture, facing a decision that would shape the course of history. Japan had vowed to fight to the bitter end, with its soldiers and civilians prepared to defend their homeland at all costs. An invasion of the Japanese mainland seemed inevitable, promising a bloodbath for both sides, with countless lives at stake. The use of the atomic bomb, a weapon of unprecedented power and destruction, was considered as a possible solution to end the conflict swiftly. It was a decision that would have profound and lasting consequences, altering the course of human history forever. President Truman, facing immense pressure from military advisors and the public, ultimately authorized the use of atomic bombs against Japan. The decision was based on a complex web of factors, including military strategy, political considerations, and the desire to end the war quickly. Military strategists argued that the bombs would save countless American lives by forcing a swift Japanese surrender, avoiding a prolonged and bloody invasion. Others believed that a demonstration of American might would deter Soviet aggression in the post-war world, establishing the United States as a dominant global power. The decision, however, came at a terrible cost, with the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki resulting in immense human suffering and loss of life, leaving a legacy of devastation and ethical debate that continues to this day. Section 5. Hiroshima, a day that changed the world forever. On August 6, 1945, the world changed forever. The Enola Gay, a B-29 bomber, dropped a single atomic bomb on Hiroshima, Japan. The city, once vibrant and alive, vanished in an instant. A blinding flash of light, followed by an ear-splitting roar, signaled the dawn of the atomic age. Thousands perished instantly, vaporized by the unimaginable heat of the blast. Buildings crumbled into dust. The living envied the dead. Those who survived the initial blast faced a horrific fate. Burns, radiation sickness, and cancer would plague them for years to come. The bombing of Hiroshima was not an act of war, it was an act of annihilation. Section 6. Nagasaki, a second bomb, a multiplied tragedy. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, another American B-29 bomber, Bockscar, dropped a second atomic bomb on the city of Nagasaki. The target, a bustling port city, was once again reduced to rubble and ash. The horrors of Hiroshima were repeated, the suffering multiplied. The atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki killed an estimated 200,000 people. Many more would die in the years that followed from the long-term effects of radiation exposure. The bombings marked a turning point in human history. The world had entered the atomic age, an era defined by both the promise of unimaginable power and the threat of utter destruction. Section 7. In the aftermath, the human cost of atomic warfare. In the aftermath of the bombings, the world grappled with the horrors unleashed. The sheer scale of destruction was difficult to comprehend. The human cost of atomic warfare became all too real. Survivors, many scarred physically and emotionally, struggled to rebuild their lives in a world forever changed. The bombings left an indelible mark on the Japanese psyche. The Hibakusha, as the survivors were known, faced discrimination and prejudice. Their stories, often heartbreaking and harrowing, serve as a reminder of the human cost of war and the enduring legacy of atomic weapons. Section 8. The long shadow of radiation, generations marked by tragedy. The true horror of the atomic bombings unfolded slowly, insidiously. Radiation poisoning, a silent killer, claimed countless lives in the years that followed. Survivors who escaped the initial blast developed cancers and other illnesses. Their children, exposed to radiation in the womb, faced birth defects and other health problems. The genetic damage caused by the bombs continues to affect generations of Japanese. The long shadow of radiation serves as a stark reminder of the indiscriminate and enduring nature of atomic weapons. It is a legacy that will continue to haunt humanity for generations to come. Section 9. A world transformed, the dawn of the atomic age. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki ushered in a new era, one defined by both hope and fear. The world now possessed the power to destroy itself many times over. The atomic age had dawned, and with it came a new set of challenges and responsibilities. The United Nations, formed in the wake of World War II, was tasked with preventing future conflicts and promoting international cooperation. The threat of nuclear war loomed large over the world. The need for disarmament and non-proliferation became increasingly apparent. Section 10. Remembering Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Lessons for the Future. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serve as a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the devastating consequences of nuclear weapons. It is our duty to remember the victims, the survivors, and the lessons learned from this dark chapter in human history. We must strive to create a world where such atrocities are never repeated. Education, dialogue, and empathy are essential tools in our quest for a more peaceful and just world. The memory of Hiroshima and Nagasaki must serve as a constant reminder of the fragility of peace and the urgent need for nuclear disarmament. Section 11. Towards a world without nuclear weapons, a continuing challenge. The threat of nuclear war remains a very real danger in the 21st century. The proliferation of nuclear weapons to more countries increases the risk of accidental or intentional use. It is imperative that we work towards a world free from these weapons of mass destruction. International cooperation, diplomacy, and a commitment to peace are essential to achieving this goal. We must learn from the mistakes of the past and work together to ensure that the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are never repeated. The future of humanity depends on it.